So, you want to hear about Dead Orbit, hmm? You know, I do have a bit of a soft spot for Dead Orbit, but don't tell that to Lakshmi. It's bad enough I'm standing here teaching these classes instead of digging through some old ruins. I mean, let's dig into the topic. Where the war cult admires the ideas of staying and fighting for what's ours, Dead Orbit feels it's best to pack up our bags and get the hell out of the solar system. Even though this is their main philosophy, however, they aren't cowards. At least on the surface, I guess. Come on, you have to admit that their want to run away from what we've built up is pretty cowardice. Dead Orbit put thought into how they'd want to spread humanity out, making sure we didn't stay in one location. I almost wonder if the farm placements we know about the European Dead Zone are being conducted by Dead Orbit as a means to transport those who want to live outside of the city to a semi-safe harbor. It also plays with the idea of spreading out our forces a bit more to ensure that if one place is overrun, that doesn't mean that humanity as a whole will fall. That's the main idea though. Dead Orbit feels that there may still be casualties in the long run with their plans, but at least some sections of humanity will survive, ensuring that the species of humanity will endure. By gathering our power and forces together, we effectively just sit as one lump of a target for whoever decides to drop a few bombs on our heads. Even though I've just spouted all of this off, however, the greatest element that Dead Orbit fosters and appeals to is that old element of exploration. If it wasn't for Dead Orbit, we wouldn't have some of the most talented members of our hangar crew working on our spacecraft. We may not have working NLS drives or know what's coming to the tower thanks to their long-distance beacons. After all, Arak Jalal, the head of Dead Orbit, tipped off Zavala to a signal being sent from the Dreadnought. Upon arriving, however, it wasn't the Hive sending the signal, but the Cabal, right to the head of the Cabal Empire. Still, when not looking at long-range communications, Dead Orbit focuses on looking to the stars for exploration and discovery. This seems to oftentimes get them into trouble, which I guess means I really can't call them cowards with all the risks they take. A ship called the Sofia is a story about a Dead Orbit crew that was lost to an Awoken attack. After dropping out of NLS travel, they arrived around Ceres, a small rocky moon-like planetoid that existed out in the asteroid belt. Existed, since Marasov apparently destroyed it during the Reef Wars. Whoops. Anyway, the Sofia had stumbled onto something incredible, some kind of station that they entitled A113. Funny enough, within past history, A113 would stand for an Easter egg or some kind of hidden meaning within entertainment or otherwise, but I digress. This station was seemingly the cause of the signal, and inside of it was a series of tunnels, or, as described by the Arak of the Sofia, keyholes. She goes on to explain to this ghost that she meets out in the asteroid belt that the rest of her crew entered the structure, and a good many of them can't stop screaming about the Eye. Obviously, upon receiving and hearing of this record, plenty of questions started to fly up. What happened to the rest of the members of the Sofia? Did they truly give themselves in the hope that no one would look into the mysteries of this station again? And of course, I can't help but think about the Eye, especially to an old friend of ours in the tower. Anyway, speculation and other thoughts aside, hearing about a mission like the Sofia does make me appreciate what Dead Orbit stands for. They risk life and limb going outside of our world, oftentimes into dangerous areas, to blaze a trail and help us track down equipment that may aid us in defeating the darkness. Are they secretive? Sure, but I don't know a faction of the city that doesn't have some secrets. The story of the Sofia serves to remind us all that we need to work together, that humanity itself is the real cause to fight for. After all, if we in the city are wiped out, then that ends humanity. Perhaps Dead Orbit is onto something after all, and that's the reason to follow them. That and who doesn't want to go out space exploring? You can't tell me you just don't like going out punching and stabbing things, right? No? Just a warlock thing? Well, okay. In either event, that is the basis of Dead Orbit. It's arguable who has the right idea in the end, but at least Dead Orbit is factoring ideas of leaving the city should it come to that in any part of our future. They are the contingent that allows us to run away so we can possibly fight another day. After all, when Future War Cult sees the darkness winning by standing within the city and the city ending up in flames, I can't help but think a bit on the side of fighting we need to do is in order to run and live. since the end goal is to allow humanity to survive. Anyway, if you're unsure who to fight for, this is just another reasoning and path to consider. In the end, fighting to support one of our factions within the city is a good idea. Wherever we may end up going, these factions are here to support humanity, no matter where that may take us. That ends our class today. If you have anything you'd like to add to these thoughts, leave it in a comment card, but if you're not sure what to say, just leave the name of the ship, the Sofia, just to remember those whom have the want to explore. After all, this is one of the oldest human motives to live and know what else is out there. Leave a like or dislike to let Ikora know how I'm doing as well, but otherwise, I'll see you next lesson, where we'll talk about new monarchy, joy, politics, my favorite topic. See you next class, Greenhorn.